Hi, my name's Melissa and I did my spring 2018 internship at Cunningham Prosthetic Care. This was a prosthetics and orthotics practice down in Wells. It's a small family-owned practice, but it's always busy, and as an intern I rarely had any downtime. Just to give you an idea of how busy they are, as of last week, which was the end of April, they aren't accepting any new orthotics patients until August. So I commuted from Saco, but the commute from UNE to Wells takes about half an hour, and it only includes tolls if you take the highway. If you take Route 9, it brings you through Kennebunkport, right by Ben & Jerry's, which can be a good or a bad thing. I worked Tuesdays from 2 to 5, and then Thursdays 9 to 5, and I only really ever had issues with traffic getting off the highway in Saco after hitting all the traffic lights. My site supervisor was Gerald, and Gerald has a background in engineering, which is unlike the typical kinesiology background you usually see in prosthetics. So he really provides a different approach to the problem solving that's needed for prosthetics, and that's what it is. A huge part of prosthetics and orthotics is problem solving and improvising to find solutions that work for your patient. He also is a guest lecturer for UNE's PT program, and as if that wasn't enough, he has also invented a new clubfoot brace that patients fly in from all over the world to get, including Morocco, Kenya, and India. While the majority of my internship was working with Gerald, I also worked with his wife Colleen on the office side of things. She gave me a better understanding of how insurance companies function and what happens when they decide not to approve something that your patient needs. And it might not seem like the most glamorous job, but these are things you probably wouldn't be taught in grad school, so it's really helpful to learn about it now. She also brings the dog into the office if she's not working from home that day, so that's definitely a bonus. The office is actually pretty small, and Gerald is the only practitioner there, but there's also 3 other people working on the administrative end of things. And having a smaller office is actually an advantage because it has kind of a family feel to it, and you get more chances to try making things on your own than you would at a chain practice like a hangar where they're on tighter budgets and aren't allowed to use up any materials having you practice things. Most of the patients are in for orthotics, but the prosthetics patients that do come in are mostly upper extremity amputees, which is cool to see because it's so much more common at other places to see a larger number of lower extremity amputees. There's a lot of modification work, unlike practices who ship things out to have them built somewhere else, and this is really good as far as learning experience because you get to see the whole process from start to finish on things like shoe inserts and AFOs. This site has 2 patient care rooms along with its lab room, and this might give the impression of it being a slow office, but most times both of these rooms would be filled, and if things are busy enough, Gerald would have me do an orthosis delivery appointment all by myself, which was basically just giving the patient their new shoes or inserts, making sure they fit comfortably, and reviewing the break-in schedule with them. On the right side is the gate room, which is usually used for prosthetic patients because of the parallel bars, and the room on the left is typically used for clubfoot patients or casting appointments. At the start of my internship, I would mostly do observation, but I slowly started picking up more responsibilities and started doing less observation time and more lab work. At the start, I would spend most of my time, other than observation, entering patient measurements into a database to track the progress of clubfoot patients. I would also assist in casting patients for new prosthetic sockets and take basic measurements like height and weight. And sometimes I would look up how to use certain software or how to configure a new prosthesis that Gerald hadn't worked with before so that when the patient came in, we wouldn't have to waste time figuring it out then. After a while, I started doing more things by myself than just observing. I learned how to make custom orthotic shoe inserts for patients and probably have a few dozen patients walking around wearing inserts that I made by myself, which is pretty cool. I would also pour and modify plaster molds of people's ankles and feet to make custom braces for them, and a couple times now I've added straps to AFOs. So on my own, I would decide where the best place to start the strap would be. I would mark that point and I would drill a hole in it to attach the strap. And the picture on the left is the first brace that I did, which was for a little kid with cerebral palsy. Even though it's challenging at times to do something you've never been taught to do, it's actually really satisfying to know that even if you didn't see the patient, that your work is out there helping someone. So first, the picture on the right is a $50,000 myoelectric hand that I got to play with for a few hours and teach a patient how to use. We struggled at first to find a good electrode placement on him, but the excitement on his face when we finally got good placement and got the hand working really well was priceless. For my internship project, I wrote an insurance appeal to get this patient's new hand approved, so it's really cool how this internship allows you to be so directly involved with the patients. As far as other information, I think it's important to note that this internship may not be for everyone. An intern here has to be able to push themselves and be comfortable figuring things out on their own. You'll be put in completely new situations and asked to find a solution to a problem you've never seen before, so you have to be up for figuring things out on your own and going through a couple failures. Overall, this was a great place to do an internship, and I learned so much more than I expected I would. Because it's so crowded and busy, I'm not entirely sure if Gerald is looking for another intern, and I had to go through 3 interviews before he finally said yes to me. But it's worth contacting Colleen and asking her about it, because I can confidently say you would learn more here than you would at any other prosthetics practice, and you're given so much more freedom here. I've included my email as well, so if you have any questions, let me know.